All right. All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to give everybody just a few minutes here. We're going to go over news, ETFs, watch list, all that good stuff in just a second. All right. Let me grab my headphones really quickly. What's up, y'all? Loki sprained my thumb today. Let's see here.
Now, let's see if we...
Oops. All right. So let's go see how many people are on. All right. Good evening. What's up, Opticy? I did have a pretty good day, Robert. How was your day, man? What's up, Tommy? How'd your trading day go as well? What do you think about Oatly possible being at the bottom in the 1850 range? I'm not sure, but I'll write it down. If you want to hop on YouTube, you'll be able to see that a little bit clearer. So Oatly, first request. That's gonna work. Never mind. Okay. Astros call out on team looks like it could be in the bank for tomorrow. All right, we'll take a look at that one as well. Team. I actually swung those Microsoft calls that I took this morning, the 285s. DD, I think DD. I don't know. That one could get rug pulled out from underneath you guys, so I would be very, very careful about putting a full-size position into a stock like that at the moment. Not to say it won't recover or pop back, but the fact is it doesn't look too. Baba, SOS still holding that squeeze type position. Yeah, Snap is up freaking huge, and of course that was earnings. I had a feeling they would do well, but DK&G was a banger. Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll chart Baba up here. So Baba. Just use the. All right. Tesla. Yeah, if you guys on TikTok want to hop on the YouTube live again, it will be a little bit easier to chart these as well. You guys will be able to see my screen. All right. Well, before the requests get a little too full here, we're going to go ahead and go over the news. Basically what we have, going over today's trades, as well as what happened in the overall market. So another green day in the market. Stocks surged for the third straight day, led by none other than our big cap tech. The Qs outperformed, gaining 0.36%. Healthcare and tech ETFs XLF and XLK both increased 0.74%. Coffee futures, by the way, are roasting. The commodity climbed 7.6% to close at a 7-year high. If you haven't seen the daily chart on coffee, I think right here it's KCHB. Let me go double check that. It's kind of fun to look at. KCHB. I might have that wrong. There it is. So check that out. That's coffee, y'all. Coffee is ripping. Coffee's about to hit 200. Pretty interesting. NIO, we'll write that down. Again, if you guys want to hop on the YouTube, be a little bit easier to see my screen. Oh, I should flip my screen, yeah. Oh, that sounded Canadian. A. There you go. Okay, cool. But in not so relevant news, NASDAQ up 0.36%, SPY up 20%, Russell up 1.55%, and the Dow holding up 0.07%, so not much of a change there. NURO, if you guys caught that signal this morning, NURO decided to reassemble its run today for just a brief period in time before shorts gain control and it resume holding this level here. And if you go to the hourly, you can see forming a pretty tight little pattern here. More than likely we'll see a tiny pop tomorrow, but that was a nice catch here this morning, and I was actually up for the day before the day even started, so that was pretty fun. Anyway, let's go back. So NURO moved up 19%. Crocs ascended 10% today. DPZ, I know some of you guys in the chat, that one got away from us way too fast, up 14.6%. So those are some of the top movers that we saw today. But one of the bigger ones, and of course earnings was really big today, and that is we're off to a pretty good start. And maybe tech becomes inflation proof or something like that. But Snap smashed its earnings estimates and posted its highest growth in 4 years. So EPS was 10 cents versus the 0 cent or 1 cent, estimate. So this was a blowout as far as that's concerned. Revenue was up 116% year over year, $982 million. And then the DAUs, 293 million, up 23% year over year. Snap, of course, if you guys didn't see in after hours, ripped. So we were talking about Snap here this morning at this level, and of course, guys, whenever you're running up to, and as you can see, this is only a testament to why knowing that earnings are coming up and adjusting for that, because if you were to look on this hourly, trend, which is more friendly to day traders, this you get a breaking down trend, right, or a breaking up trend, which for some people would say sell, but in my opinion, this is why playing earnings is so risky, because it doesn't matter what the chart says, it matters what the numbers are, and that's most important. And so Snap proving that point there. Of course, Snap was and did break a downtrend, but other than that, Snap soaring to the $78 level. And the pretty cool thing about this is, and yeah, I do believe it is, let's go to the 4 hour here. Yeah. So it looks like Snapchat is rocking a new all-time high, just a sliver above the previous high of 73.50. So possible retracement to that top tomorrow. A lot of times when I see earnings run up to previous highs, a lot of times it'll be a retest of that previous high that'll let it build support. But nice run today for Snap. That one actually carried other social stocks. Of course, Twitter also had earnings They're up big after hours with a pretty large inverse head and shoulders on the daily. But their earnings beat on top and bottom lines with ease after the bell. Revenue grew 74% year over year, 1.2 billion. EPS 20 cents versus the 7 cent estimate. And DAUs 206 million, 11% over year over year, and Twitter is up 8% after hours. Again, Intel easily surpassed Wall Street's targets for Q2. Actually saw a lot of unusual flow for INTC. So, hold on, let's. Sorry, I was just looking at something. I got a message. Okay, so Intel easily surpassed Wall Street's targets for Q2. EPS was $1.28 versus the $1.06 estimate. Revenue 19.6 billion, no change year over year, and they dropped. INTC did. In after hours, as you can see, pulling back down here to this base. More than likely, you're going to see that retest of 43.30. And the one thing that sucks about and is awesome about INTC is that it has so many gaps. It just gaps all over the place. So seeing that it's down here at this level, more than likely, if it can hold. If it gaps down, right, to 53.23 or somewhere in that level, that's a blessing, because if it bounces, it has a gap to fill, which will accelerate, and hopefully you have a gap at 59.35. So if you can catch INTC on that uptrend, INTC is looking pretty good too as well. Also today we had the Akami's Edge DNS server, one of the largest internet infrastructure services, Edge DNS financial institutions, travel company, media players, and other cloud services. Let's see. But with so today Edge DNS crashed today, taking a chunk of the internet with it. Purportedly, Oracle Cloud was also down around the same time for a few hours. It was DEFCON 1 for IT people everywhere. So internet infrastructure has become more and more centralized. Over the years, a handful of companies like Cloudflare, Fastly, AZL, and Akami have turned into key masters of the free web. Generally, few companies do a great job. The bad news, they crash every once in a while, causing headaches for companies and their customers. FedEx, Amazon, Airbnb, HBO Max were among the companies affected by today's outages. Fortunately, the product was only out for 2 hours before the company restored service, and investors weren't too upset. But it made the headlines, so I'm reading it. Can you check Alibaba, please? Yeah, I'm on YouTube Live. If you guys want to hop on there, I actually have Baba on my list. I'm going to be going over that relatively soon. Okay, so airline earnings. Let's see here. Earnings season for 4 of America's largest airlines have led the charge, reporting better than expected earnings results. Sorry, guys, I'm in trouble with my words right now. Southwest and United shared narrow losses, supporting this thesis for post-COVID travel resurgence. Delta and American posted unexpected profits. Unfortunately, though, the airlines were unencumbered with debt and rely on government aid for payroll. The airline industry is crawling its way back from pre-COVID profits, but still has a way to go in terms of earnings and their stock prices. The JETS ETF shows airlines are still 26% below the pre-pandemic stock prices in aggregate. Even with the solid earnings, some reopening stocks can't shake investors' fear about the new COVID variants. So that one is likely to stay stagnant when you look at JETS and you look at the rest of those correlating airline stocks, all of them showing. And we're established a new downtrend on the airlines for quite some time, back going into May. So that's sick. I just saw what Paper Hand said in the chat. That's good stuff. All right. That's hilarious. All right, real quick. Can you chart Baba? NIO, got it. Hi from New Zealand. Oh, what's up, John? Thanks for stopping by, man. I'm in Georgia, in America. It's hot. There's lots of bugs. All right. So that's pretty much it, guys. As far as kind of like the top news for me, those earnings, of course, could send a couple of the stocks that I have been watching into new territories, and that's something that I want to go over here with Microsoft. I don't know if anybody grabbed those $300 calls that I talked about this morning, and I've actually my first entry, and those were red for a while, for a couple of days. But the beautiful thing about it is we had time, and so I was able to play it up, down, and maximize my profits this morning. I think if you guys go back on the YouTube, it was a matter of minutes. And I was up over $1,000 on my position on a simple Microsoft play this morning, and I was super duper happy with the way that played out. But I do with Twitter and Snap having propelled the Qs into those new highs. Now we're closer than ever, and it's actually feasible for those $300 calls to go in the money. And if you guys take a look at flow, and rather than just talk about it, I'll show you. Microsoft had one hell of orders, or one hell of a bag sent its way as far as options are concerned. So if you go look at Microsoft, actually one of the $300 calls, and I actually saw 315s and 305s. You have to remember that Flow Algo has their own proprietary algorithm that does its own, reasoning on what deserves to be in flow and what doesn't. But we did see a pretty fat order jump in on Microsoft. Microsoft holding, I think, a couple of months, or I guess not even months, weeks ago. I talked about how Microsoft needed to hold the $280 level. If it did that, then earnings season could push it forward, and it could be one of those new bullish zones where we build that supply zone and then take off. And so far, so good. So with that being said, we know where our target is on Microsoft, and without being greedy, I think tomorrow, if anybody swung Microsoft, and I went a little heavier than I should have, to be honest with you, TBA, but I was well within profits after playing Microsoft and a couple of the, different other equity stocks today. But I decided to take that for a swing, and I'm pretty excited about taking profit on that tomorrow, which is exactly my point. Tomorrow, guys, just because earnings was good doesn't mean that the stocks won't see a quick profit-taking pullback. So don't remember that anytime something goes up, it must come down, and sometimes, even if it's just a little bit, it's fast and it's scary, and it's better to not get scared when you have cash in your hand. Okay, so with Microsoft tomorrow, guys, pre-market movement, our post-market movement, amazing. 284 level broke, 285 calls in the money as of today, and then in after hours here hitting 287. So I would suspect, and right now I'm eyeballing a pullback to at a minimum 186.27, which is that previous breakout level. But if we don't gap up, now that's one of the main concerns here, is if we gap up, that's going to change everything, because if we gap up, you guys need to be out of the trade at the bell, because if it does have a gap above it, it's going to fill the gap. And if it fills the gap, there's more of a lucrative opportunity to play puts to the downside with that gap, which will likely be at 187.73. So wherever it does gap up to, if it doesn't open up flat, then we can play that gap and then potentially look to take it on the bounce. So all of this is useless. Go all in and AMC. You're right. I quit. I quit, guys. He's right. This whole thing's a lie. It's AMC what you should have been. Oh, man. I'm dead. Sorry. Someone's... inside tier. Yo, Sammy, what's good, man? Thanks for hopping on, my guy. Alrighty, so taking a look at Microsoft, guys. Gap up, take profit, play the gap down or the gap fill, and then we'll take it from there. But those $300 calls, I'm hanging on to, guys. I think this one, I think these go in the money. And the beautiful thing about it is I can make money when it goes down. I can make money when it goes up, all on the way to hitting that price target. So diamond hands in this situation. And Nancy Pelosi is also trading. This guy said, you know it's true. I'm dead. Yeah, me and Nancy Pelosi are trading together practically because she's still hodling as far as I know. Yeah, it's awesome when you get to make the laws that influence the tech stocks that you buy. Nancy? All right. So let's go to Maxar. One of the reasons, I don't know if anybody, I know a couple of you guys took this trade with me, and I'm long on it. I don't like the movement that we got in after hours. It does look like we gapped down, but as long as we hold, and I'm going to briefly go over this trade, and after that I'm done. But 33.75 is support. So anywhere below that, I'll probably take a hedge, which will likely take us down to the 32.63. So I'll likely take a $33 put on Maxar at that break of 33.50. Make some money on the downside to 32.50, and then I'll average down at that level for the potential inverse head and shoulders. This is a $55 company trading at $33. So yeah, futures are pretty green. And I think that I think one of the things is earnings. You know, earnings. This is what we've been talking about all week. Earnings season is going to be what moves us forward. Earnings is all that matters. Period. I mean, not in life, but you know, just in general, when it comes to the stock market, it is all that really truly matters, and that's something that we saw reflective during the COVID pandemic. Stocks still ripped when they had good earnings. Period. So, okay, so. Aside from Microsoft, Snap, let's see here. Socket, this one ripping in after hours. I am in. I was able to catch it below $9, so just around $8.68 was my fill on Socket. This one ripped all the way to $12, but holding strong here in after hours. So I am. I've got my eyes peeled on Socket Mobile here. More than likely we'll see another bounce at 976, but this one is all hot on my radar. If you guys want to join me, I don't know if anybody is down. Maybe I should go on YouTube live tomorrow morning, like ASAP, maybe like 8:25. But I'm thinking about trading penny stocks in pre-market. I've been almost consistently green trading pre-market, and not even really like I'm pretty well, like I could be done for the day, and some of these days before the market even starts. So Why am I drinking coffee right now? All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to get to some of your guys' requests. What happened with Texas Instruments? I don't know, dude. The calculator. Yeah, we'll take a look at that stock. Sometimes I forget it exists. All right, let's go ahead and go get to it. So the first one that we got was Oatly. And guys, tomorrow morning, as always, I'll update you guys on my watch list and what I'm watching going into tomorrow. Mostly tech stocks. And that goes for Roku, or not Roku, but any communications, Twitter, Snap, those kind of ones, Apple. Even though it's not necessarily social media, what do you usually get on social media with? So let's go over Oatly. Ooh. All right, so what happened? Somebody spilled milk here. This one... So starting off of my highs, right? Usually always starting off of my highs, running it down to my lows. Usually I'm going to look for the path of most respect. And as you guys have heard me say multiple times, I really dig it with my EMAs, which are just moving averages. And if you don't know what a moving average is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a moving average. So it's an average of that stock over a certain amount of days. So if it's the 50-day moving average, it's just simply the average of that closing price on that stock over the last 50 days represented in a moving average, for those of you who don't know. So let's see here. Let me make sure this trend line is not so bright. But what I like to see here, as you can see, is this 20-day EMA here is perfectly aligned. I would venture to guess, looking at the way that Oatly has wicked off of this 1832 support, that it does have the potential to possibly turn over and at least at a minimum go for a retest. It's already has a small gap above it, $21, all the way to really not much, but just a very small gap there on the daily. But is looking for a possible bounce here. So anywhere above 20 bucks, and I would likely take a position on Oatly, watching for the 2150 level. Anywhere above 2135, 2150, and I think that this one would likely have broken downtrend because since its IPO and its original run up to the $28 level, it has dropped to these lows, which could attract investors because we do have earnings on the way. So anywhere below 1834, and it's going to start exploring new lower prices. And I think anywhere above these previous days where we got those big shorts right here, these big downticks right here, all the way back down from 20 bucks all the way back down to 1850. So in order to see continuation to the upside, I would like to see Oatly use this 5-minute double bottom potentially to push up and make a higher high, because at the moment it still has a pretty well established downtrend here. So and now I need to correct myself. Hold on 1 second. Sometimes you have to adjust things based on the time frame. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm not off. $20. Target would be $21.65 if you can break over the 2055 level. 2055. So Oatly looks good for a potential bottom buy here. For me, I wouldn't put a full size position in it, but it does look good. Second. All right, I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anything in the chat. Amazon? Yeah, go ahead. Am I a good trader? Yes, I am. I think so. My account says so. Netflix. If you guys want to hop on... Oh, shit. I just closed that out. If you guys want to hop on... there you go. If you guys want to hop on the YouTube, it's going to be a little bit easier to chart and take your guys' request. Okay, so we got Team TAM, or TEAM. I know English. All right, so interesting setup here. It looks like you've bottomed off of the 256.50 level. Can I check Roku? Of course it is. I got you. I'll write that down. Where did it go? I guess I'll remember it. Or did I just put my pen? Oh well. All right. Let's go to. So let's see with team. I'm gonna start here on the daily time frame. So it does look like the 20-day EMA here has been a really well-respected moving average. It has earnings coming up, and just like I said on Snapchat, this is July 29th, so you don't have much time before this earnings actually happens. When it comes to technicals going up to earnings, I'm not going to act like I know what's going to happen, because the fact of the matter is I don't. Snapchat, it could have gone either way because it's all based on how earnings reports, and unless you have insider information, I do technical analysis in between earnings. A week before those earnings, sometimes the chart will set up the play. Tesla's a perfect example of that. Apple's a perfect example of that. It always seems like when they're about to die, or when they're nearing these really crazy support levels, or articles are getting really bearish, some type of reversal pattern makes its way. So in this case right now, I would say this is relatively bullish. You have had two major, or even you could even say three major rejections at that 270 all the way up to the 275 level on team. Now, heavy consolidation going into earnings isn't necessarily a bad thing. It hasn't entered a downtrend, and it hasn't really, it's held its uptrend, if anything. So in my opinion, looking at the way the daily closed today as well, I mean, you get a bounce from 262.35 all the way to 269, recovering pretty much that entire gap and more. So it looks bullish between now and earnings. It seems like it's upholding a decent amount of scattered volume. I sound like the weatherman right now. But I would anticipate anywhere above 271.50 that this one could end up being a runner there. But again, earnings is going to be everything. AMC for this week coming up. Contracts expire Friday. Snap gonna rock and roll for sure. If you guys want to hop on the YouTube again, guys, it's gonna be a little bit. I'm actually gonna go over Wish here in just a minute. Wish and Roku. There's my pen. Got it. Roku. Man, my thumb is killing me right now. Wish and Sophie. Looks good. Okay, sweet. Alibaba, yeah, Baba's actually coming up after SOS. I'm trying to give you guys, and obviously, if I know anything about the company, I'm going to include that. But you know, if it has earnings or something coming up, or if I know nothing about the company, I'm always going to be honest with you guys about that factor. So I expect you guys to do your own due diligence when it comes to what that company is about. If you're kept bringing it to me, if you're a day trader, that's a different story. But if you're looking at it as an investor, if I don't know anything about the company, that takes research and stuff. But I will give you guys my opinion on the charts. I just want to make sure, because that was an important lesson that was talked about last night. So SOS still heavily shorted, and I think what we saw was a mini squeeze the other day. This one pretty much showing a rejection, so I'm watching for a bounce at this level here of 232. I didn't enter a full size position on SOS, but I'm holding it around for the next. Well, it does react with Bitcoin, and of course it had the Hindenburg, or I'm not sure if it was Hindenburg. So some short report company came out and basically shit talked SOS, causing them to fall down to these levels, but a very heavily shorted company, so one that can unravel to the upside. I know I have become annoying, but how does SPY look like? You're not annoying, dude. I have more people ask me about stocks that are dead over and over again. Like, I have had that. Yeah, that's probably like where it's like, where you have a really wide range and they're still asking, like, well, there's nothing, I can't make it break out, But other than that, no, there's nothing annoying. You're fine. I can be annoying, NVIDIA and Uber, got it. All right, we'll hop on NVIDIA. What do I think about AMC? Can is gonna rock and roll. I'm about to go over AMC's chart. Apple, yeah, we got Apple on there. We got NIO on there. Can I look up base? Base God. Apple base. I did it again too, man. I keep skipping the ETFs. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do those next. All right, so we got BABA coming after this, but I'm going to go ahead and do the major ETFs. So, SPY. SPY today showing respect here, bouncing off of its support. As we suspected, we talked about the potential for a retest. I don't know if anybody was on that live. Well, I know a lot of you guys were on that live, but we literally talked about when it was right here. We talked about how the next day it was highly likely that SPY wouldn't just break out without retesting, and that's exactly what it did today. You got a really nice retest, a beautiful bounce, and a nice after hours flag. I would suspect that in after hours we may sit flat or open a little green, hopefully not too green, anything too green, and we would have to gap fill, and we wouldn't want to gap fill anywhere near support because that could break it. But it does look like it is primed for continuation with earnings season steadily rolling right now, and 437.22 as the target. We can also go to look at flow, and we can say that's not a ticker. And we could go and say, all right, we got a whole lot of green prints happening here. 432.59. So we have 728, 436, 437.50 calls for 723. These coming in towards the end of the day. We did have a 435 put. This looks like a hedge, and the reason why I'm saying that it's relatively cheap. But it doesn't have a really high algo score, and if anything, if it did pull back at open and retest that support, they would likely be able to take profit on those at some point. But let's see, yeah, those are only 50 cents away, so it's not like a major bet. I would say that's more of a hedge, a heavy one, but a hedge nonetheless. So. All right, yeah, NIO is coming up. Fubo, I'll do that one as well because I want to take a second look at it anyway. All right, so we got SPY covered. We got QQQ. Wait, before I stop, because I know there's some people on here who have never seen this live or been on here before. So if you haven't, welcome and look at SPY. So check this out. SPY, like clockwork, continues, and I know you guys on live heard me say this last time, and it is what it is, but every single time it bounces off a trampolini and it's just rips right off of the 50-day EMA. You can see multiple bounces. This 50-day EMA is beautiful, and that's exactly where we got our reversal. So not only was it a technical thing, it was just looking at those EMAs, get a nice bounce, hold it up. You don't want to see an ultra bullish or candle there, but the next day, usually after that first hit of the 50-day EMA, is where you'll need to see a bounce. And when you do, this is usually the result. And normally, and actually, I would say historically, every time we bounce on SPY's 50-day EMA, we make a new all-time high. So that's my opinion. How do I start the free trial? Also, do you guys teach day trading, crypto? Daniel. Yeah, I got you, Daniel. Listen, if you're brand new, it's not that we don't, we want to be, I want to talk to you first, right? I want to get you on a path where you can take the steps, because a lot of people try and sell a universal kit for everybody to get started in the stock market, and it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? Like, every single person, I have taught a lot of people, and guess what? Every single one of them has their own style. Every single one of them has, now they may have like a tidbit, like they may like use the EMAs like I do, but at some point, a lot of these traders are able to establish a trading style based off of their personality, their availability, all that good stuff. So yeah, I would say just hold on, and let me talk to you, and then I'll talk to you about the free trial and all that good stuff. But we'll go over your chart here in just a second. Yeah, respect EMA for sure. I'll look at AMC in just a second. Yeah, and those of you on TikTok, if you guys want to hop on the YouTube live, there's a little bit more. Thanks, Sammy. I have a very strong sense of justice in some regards, man. I didn't always get a lot of help. So when I did, I try and be thankful for it and pass it along, dude. So I want people to be able to like leave and, you know, be able to trade forever. Wake up in the morning somewhere and just do it. Hop on the Discord, DM me, Daniel. Just DM me, and that's how we talk. We'll talk here. I've got a little bit of one-on-ones tomorrow. I'll just say that. So. Okay, so let's get back to the charts. Anyway, so on SPY, I really like the all-times high. I wouldn't say tomorrow, maybe a little bit of a pullback tomorrow, but it does look good for another push up. There could be a small retest, but everything else looks like we could see continuation in the market. Of course, another thing that we can look at as well, and I have this already pulled up, I'm going to refresh the page, but is earnings. So Friday's earnings right now, we have American Express, nothing crazy. Honeywell, which is Heck Diesel's like new favorite. Kimberly-Clark, so nothing crazy. But what could be interesting is taking a look at Tesla. I don't really play Lockheed Martin. MEDS though, I do trade that one for scalps. That one's fun. Tuesday we got Visa, AMD, and also guys, those of you who are like up to your pants in AMD calls, please be careful. All right, I know a lot of you guys are. Microsoft, Starbucks, Apple, Google. So either we rip tomorrow and then we pull back towards the end of the day, something fierce, or we stagger step into the day and then rip. So, and I could be wrong on either one of those, but that's my thoughts on the market tomorrow. And because we have such huge earnings coming next week, that volatility and that sentiment is, and even honestly, the earnings this week was awesome. It's going to carry on that sentiment. We're not going to get caught up in it. We're going to play it, right? Because we're not emotional traders, unless it goes our way and we're screaming. Yuck. Anyway, 25 people leave. What's your name on Discord? Hold on one second. Go to the free chat, and I'll type hello. There you go. Just tap on my name there and hop in. Yeah, there's lots of ways to practice, my guy, so that way you don't have to lose money too. So I will tell you guys that the psychologically, the thing that feeds people or attracts people to trading is the very same thing that can be your downfall, right? So like I really wanted to make it out of my situation. I really was tired of having job after job after job after job. And eventually, you know, like after practicing and learning, I made a move, but I didn't do it without, you know, losing. And I realized at some point that I kept forcing, and I felt like if I just kept doing like this, like I would eventually, like, you know, like start making money. But like, it is so psychological. It is so based on who you are as a person and how you being aware of how you react to things. How do you react to and honestly, I love that I'm on tape all day, which sounds kind of creepy. It would be more profitable if it was on OnlyFans, but I get to watch myself later on sometimes and see exactly like what how I react sometimes, because I go over, you know, the YouTube sometimes, and I'll highlight some of the plays that we did, you know, for that day, or screen record them, and sometimes the plays that go really well, you know, like I catch myself sometimes, and eventually if a mistake comes after that, I'll be able to correlate the two. So being self-aware of why you're getting into the market, it's totally okay. You want to make money, you want to have passive income, you want to be able to you know, do something different with your life, 100% awesome. Like, that's awesome. But it's also another reason to be very aware of what is happening psychologically during the beginning steps, because euphoria is actually the worst thing. Depression and frustration can be, but euphoria, that high, that can be the worst thing. A lot of people's largest gains end up being the reason why they just can't figure out trading. And we've worked with people that we've had people make $100,000 in a day in our chat. It's in the gains page, and then, you know, like eventually later on, you know, or like I think we've had tons of different people, but like all of them, you know, in reflection, you know, will say that it was tougher after that big gain to kind of get an idea of like how the hell things are actually supposed to go, because it's psychologically almost burns that into your head as the way to make money. And when you do that, it basically is an unrealistic way of making money and can burn you long term. So okay, so anyway, done ranting. Sound like a full dad right now. The cues, beautiful cues. So I talked about this morning how we exchanged our support for resistance. That basically means that we were holding this trend line here, we fell below it, and now looky, we are retesting it. So as of today, and this is danger zone number 1, guys, because this is one of the things that gets that weird feeling in my gut where I'm like, I don't like that. You know, I don't like the fact that you exchanged your support for resistance, and you kind of look like you got a reversal pattern forming if we end up rejecting tomorrow. So if we end up rejecting tomorrow, a normal pullback could flatline us and flag out to maybe, you know, hold the 363 level. But otherwise, tomorrow, guys, we have to, and I mean like have to, hopefully Snap and the other Q-based stocks push it past 365.33. we can go take a look at Qs on. That's not what I wanted to see. Okay, so that doesn't mean they're right, but 362.50, 362, 362.50, 362, 360. Pretty much all of these 723. So the expiration of the contract, meaning when these contracts will expire, will be on the 23rd. So these expire tomorrow. A lot of these came in obviously during the middle of the day, so maybe somebody was expecting to play the top, but a lot of these came in towards the end of the day. This is no promise that that's the way things will go, but in my opinion, if they're not hedges, anywhere above 365 we're in the green. If we get a rejection tomorrow, please be very careful, because the euphoria, right, from Snap and everything making those giant highs could be the very same reason why we pull back right in our faces. So fuck. Okay. Okay, cool. Oops. That's annoying. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so Qs are done. IWM. This one, I told you guys about the break-in downtrend, the potential retest. This retest came a little bit harder, and I'm sure if I adjust, let's see here. Sorry about that. So what I think happened here is a really, really strong retest of the downtrend that we broke. So you have this downtrend here. I do still think that there is a potential for reversal, but I also talked about this morning how difficult through inflation the the Russell. The Russell. Sorry, I just confused myself with the Dow. But with the inflation and meme stock debacles, we could see IWM pull back a little bit further tomorrow. I think 219 is a likely level for IWM. Sorry, guys, I just confused the shit out of myself. But now that we're moving on, the Dow, this was the exact level that I said we needed to break, and this is the exact same level that we couldn't break. So today we ended up pushing just a little bit above that level and then closing below it. So I think that industrials could pull back tomorrow if we don't get a gap up. Otherwise, the Dow was looking really, really weak today in terms of movement to the upside. And again, like I was just saying, with inflation, these type of industrial stocks can get burned. So right here at this level of 348.25, the Dow has to break that in order to make an attempt at the 35K level. So all right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back to tickers. Tesla. Oh no, I didn't get BABA. All right, so on BABA, I think I talked about BABA I had to have, because I apparently charted it. So with BABA, I would suspect anywhere above 216.40 right now. That is where we rejected today. I don't like the inverted hammer that we made. What this means, so if we're looking at this candlestick here, we opened up, pushed all the way to 216.55, and then sellers took it back down to the 214 level. So not a terrible pullback, but not great. And we don't have a lot of volume. We don't have a lot of positive catalyst in BABA's favor. Based off of pure technicals, anywhere past 217, it does have some gaps to potentially fill to 221.86. But right now, my hands are off Chinese stocks, even sometimes with, or for the most part, options, as it's just so risky, and there's never the same volatility that we used to see. So. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we got BABA down. Let's get to Tesla. So I think I have Tesla already charted out here. Ooh, look at my lines. I'm a weird guy. I like lines. So my lines here are chilling. We've got two bottom trend line here coming off of this May low, and then this high here off of June 23rd. Right now, I talked about the earnings that is coming up and the potential to stay consolidated. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bounce because we didn't see a lot of strength to the downside. Look at the little MACD here. That MACD shows very little strength. So potentially we could see a bounce tomorrow and a retest. A lot of times just to do something, it feels like Tesla will run up and test something before earnings. Previously on earnings for Tesla, we've seen a nice shoot up and then a reversal. This pattern in itself doesn't look great. It really needs to break. Tesla has to break basically the $700 level. It's not even just 695 or 690. It is the 690 level to the $700 level has to get broken in order to see Tesla start actually moving to the upside, in spite of Michael Burry and everybody else. Great respect at this level, quite a bit of choppiness as well. So I would suspect looking at Tesla tomorrow, if you're looking at day trading it, that's kind of the only thing. I didn't see that. So that's the beauty of the hourly. So this looks like it's going to reverse. I would suspect Tesla. So let's mark some levels out here. All right, perfect. All right, so peep this. So we look as if, yep, I see the respect there. All right, so on Tesla, anywhere below 344.50 on a pullback, and I would say that we're gonna flush. Tesla's likely gonna pull back, and I would say 625. Well, the first level is gonna be 638. The second levels you've got is 635, and then 625.85, and the range basically from 628.75. And then 625.50 is where Tesla is likely going to see that bounce if it pulls back. Now, before I go any further, if Tesla bounces on 644.50 and makes its way back up, this might form a little reversal pattern here. This is kind of what some people call a falling wedge. So in that falling wedge, the price consolidates, and then eventually you hit that bottom, and then you usually will kind of skyrocket. Those are pretty awesome reversal patterns. So still holding, staying well respected, but anywhere that pattern breaks below 644.50 on Tesla. Again, and you know what's really sucks is that's an inverse head and shoulders here that was just stifled immediately at that same level, the 664 level has been pretty tough for Tesla to break through. So gonna need to see volatility and momentum in order to move to the upside. What does that say? First time Tesla took me negative 30K. SPY gave me 30K back. Second time NVIDIA and NIO got me to 40. Oh my gosh. Yikes. Yeah, that's crazy. Ooh, Toyota just shut down its factory due to COVID. Hopefully this doesn't start to steamroll. economy can't handle it, man. Sure. Yeah, I DM'd you. Do you see that? I actually already DM'd you. Nice. Cool stuff. All right. AMC, SC, Kaya. All right. So we got Tesla down. I'm getting a Wish. You guys really love Wish. Zach Morse. That's all the chart you need. I'm just kidding. I haven't looked at his tweets yet. Let's see here. So I think I talked about NIO today. NIO got a pretty it could not clear that HMA. So that HMA pulling back. I think that this one has the potential for an inverse head and shoulders as well. Not a very strong bounce on NIO. Excuse me. Watch for a pullback below 45.61. 45.61. If you get a pullback on NIO there, watch for a bounce around that 44.50 level. If you can manage a bounce there, and I would even say, yeah, 44.50. I'll just say 44.50, 45. You could make an inverse head and shoulders and reverse out of that. I would like to see it's ending with an hourly bear flag also, just to add to it. So it's likely going to hit 45.30. 45.30 is going to be a tough spot for it to break down, and could be just enough for it to make that inverse head and shoulders. Otherwise, it could wick down and pull back to that 44.50 level, 44.40, and then bounce. So I don't know who this guy is that just hopped in our Discord, but sorry you feel that way, my guy. You're in our YouTube though. Hopefully you can learn something. But anyway, so we got NIO holding that bear flag anywhere below the 200-day EMA. I'm going to set an alert here at 45.40. And then above it, I'm going to set an alert at 48.45. All right, so the next request was Roku. Wow, Roku is just very cyclical in its ways. So with Roku, it looks like it's holding this hourly trend line. So with Roku, this is the same exact setup that was presented to us on Microsoft. And you guys saw the result of Microsoft's play today. Microsoft was beautiful multiple different times. In fact, 3 different admins signaled Microsoft 3 different times. It was so dope. But anyway, with Microsoft, this one, watch for a pop. It is on support, so it could do the exact opposite in reverse. But watch for a little bit of a pop here. It would kind of, it has a bit of a round bottom here. So if it did pop, I would say a reasonable target is around 435 for Roku. And that's with volatility and momentum on it in its favor. Otherwise, I would say 430.65. Is where I would take Roku on a bounce. So it does look like it's going to use that 20 and that support to pop here. So watch for pre-market to start kind of gapping up a little bit, and then hopefully at the bell we'll see that big pop. So Roku actually looks pretty good. So I tell you what, I'm going to set an alert at 423.25, another alert at 426.35. I'm going to set an alert below 418.70. Yeah, 418.70. And I'm going to leave it at that. Wow, that's crazy. Okay. So we got Roku down. RSI, please. Yeah, if you guys want to hop on the YouTube, I'm about to do. I'll write down Netflix. We're almost done. So Netflix. What do we have? Fubo. Yeah, I already have Fubo on there. So, all right, we're almost to Wish. I promise it's next. So those of you who are wanting me to chart Wish, hold on. My eyeballs hurt, and I just realized I don't have my glasses on. I got a stain in my shirt. Yuck. All right. All right, so let's go with Wish. What is you doing? Beautiful. Let me guess, it's got a 15-minute reversal pattern right here. Beautiful. All right, so good news is you're looking pretty pivotal. You're looking like you're at that spot. In need of a reversal here. You can see the resistance. I actually spoke on this line a minute ago, talking about how it wasn't too late to save a Wish with an inverse head and shoulders. Tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow is the day. We gotta see AMC pop here. It is up against resistance. It is ready to potentially break downtrend and pop. I would say that Wish 964 break. If you get that break there, the next target's 981. If we can break that, I think we start moving to the upside, and with the immediate target of 1171, which would also line up with the previous resistance, our support, this trend line here. That's likely where this 200-day EMA and that line will meet, and that's likely where Wish will see its first line of resistance, and not only another extra line of verification, right, to let us know that we're correct in our analysis, is that if it did make it to that level, right, let's see where we at. There it is. Looky there. So look at how much respect that level has garnished. So watch for the same level of respect at, I would say a hard resistance is $11. $10.85 to $11 on Wish. So looks good for an inverse head and shoulders potential. That's if we bounce tomorrow. Only if. So my suggestion, we're gonna set an alert here at 9:55. And I know it sounds crazy, but you can set as many as you want, as many cents increments. 965 and not another bad place to set alert. I need cascading alerts, right? One sometimes doesn't catch my attention, but 2 or 3 in a row, that lets me know we're moving, right? And it's not too late, I can catch it. So 1081 would be that, if I could catch it right here, I would add to my position. And then I would likely add to my position above this little ribbon, not even ribbon, but this little gap here in between these two moving averages. All right, Wish, not bad. SQ, I'll write that one down, but we're going to go ahead and siphon off. Those of you on TikTok, you guys can hop on the YouTube. We'll be live at 8:45 tomorrow morning as well, doing the same thing, getting ready for tomorrow. Don't sleep on Wish. I actually think this one could reverse. Maybe. We'll see. If it rejects, it spills. And if it spills, it goes back to... Hold on. I imagine if it spills, it goes back to 9:12. Maybe it depends on the timing, but 9:10. So, all right, so let's go ahead and let's rock out. We already got Wish, we got Sophie. Sophie, just non-stop bullish flow. Also, who asked me about body? I don't know if it's somebody in the Discord. Pretty sure it was on. I took a position on that, but got this Domino's put 520. Seemed like a good gamble. Bro, that's a lot of money to gamble, dog. Send me that money. Send me that money. It's not a terrible idea. Anytime you get a big run like that, a lot of times, I don't know about a swing, because a lot of times you'll get a gap up. A lot of times it's better to short something after a gap up rather than swinging a short expecting the gap down, because a lot of times that doesn't come. Retail sometimes pushes up that pre-market movement. So anyway, on Sophie, guys, here, daily reversal here. Today we used it looks like 9-day moving. Yep. So my HMA actually. Sophie still looks good, but I think it's going to consolidate. And the reason why I feel that way is the way that it reacted here to the 200-day EMA on the hourly, pulling back underneath it, kind of making it a little inverted cup and handle. But I'm not a big fan of that pullback that it had right there. So I would expect for Sophie to potentially revisit 16. That doesn't mean that it's over, though. I think that at that point, a consolidation underneath this 200-day moving average, and this is just a speculative resistance, but consolidation here in this pocket is highly likely before we see a crossover of those EMAs. And if you go look at the daily, the main resistance above us is $17. So, all right. So 8 EMA and 200-day EMA golden bull signal. Yes, sir. Nice job. You said check out AFL on 1-day chart. Had a nice retest on the one. Looking at calls, would love your opinion. Okay, I'll write that down. If you want to hop on the YouTube, a little bit easier for me to. Yeah, I'll check it. Let's see, AFL. Let me write that down. I've traded that before. I don't remember when. Gotta trade them. Not really, don't do that. Okay, so Sophie, pretty simple here. Consolidation, more than likely. 200-day EMA break. Set an alert on that EMA, which you can do. You can set alerts on anything here in TradingView for the most part. I am using this speculative 45-degree wick, right? See the wicks touching right there? That's where I'm getting this resistance line, not just pulling it out of my butt. But hourly wicks right here showing some respect right there. So I imagine that... Oh, damn, you played dominoes to the upside 6 cents? Hot damn, dude. Nice job. Nice. That's sick. I wonder if anybody outside of my door is wondering if I'm talking to one of my senses and I've lost my mind. Okay. Okay, so we got Sophie down below 1581, retest of 1550. All right, Apple. Okay, Apple looks sick. Apple always looks sick in some way or another. So with Apple, beautiful trend line here, beautiful break and downtrend, beautiful. Pretty much the only thing that's not super beautiful is the strength that we saw on the MACD. Technically, like looking at technicals, Apple looks good for continuation, flagging into support with that 20-day EMA backing us up, 9-day moving average backing us up. Right now, I'm gonna throw up my pivot. Yeah, so today was our 1 hour pivot point hold. So I think that we pop off of this support, guys. Our first resistance, depending on where we open, is 148.30 on Apple. Next target would be 149.25. I would highly recommend with weeklies, when something goes in the money and you're scalping heavy, you need to get out. If you're trying to hold something all day with weeklies, you need to buy it cheap as shit after a pullback, and it needs to be way out of the money as a potential, like, okay, this could spill or flush or run into this at the last minute or something, but it shouldn't ever be a hefty size of your position, guys. You can scalp stuff with next week's contracts. I promise you can. A lot of people don't do that on Fridays because they think there's more money to be made with weeklies because they can buy them cheaper, but you can just lose a little bit of money at a time with weeklies rather than a whole bunch. It's just a different way. Yeah, this is TradingView. Guys, if you guys want to send your request in, anybody on TikTok, please hop on the YouTube. PayPal. We actually have some people watching PayPal. TradingView, though, is the program that I use. It's pretty good. Okay, so we got Apple here. I think a strong bounce on Apple. 147.81 would be that first target. Second target, again, 148.25. Third target, 149.25. And then if we just had an absolute ripper of a day, of course, 150 would ultimately be, and it is bouncing off a pivot point. So my recommendation would be to set lots of alerts. 147.73 depends on where we open up. If futures are green and we gap up, I don't like gaps, at least in bullish terms. So I would expect that gap to get filled first. So if the gap is somewhere around here, 148.50, then I would suspect that gap gets filled, you bounce, and then pump and push. So, man. I just got your message as well, Daniel. Yeah, man, I don't have 5, but I have 2 kids, and I understand. It's a whole different level of hunger, I guess, if you will. So, yeah, I bought Socket in after hours after listening to their earnings. So, Zang Zang Z. Well, not really. You ain't late for class. If technically this, you can move time here. You know, you can rewind me, pause me, mute me. All right. Okay, we did Tesla already. How about Moderna? Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that, man. Trying to help people out. This lo-fi is so chill, bro. I could chart like all night. Are we about to pull an all-nighter? I'm getting to AMC. I know you guys are chopping at the bit. That one's coming up next after Base God. AMC is super based. All right, so, oops. What the hell is this? All right, I can't chart that, my guy. I guess the only thing I could do, I see a little bit of respect here, but this looks like it's just IPO'd. So as badly as I want to be right on something, and no, I don't know. This one's newly IPO'd, man. This is purely, I don't even know what Couchbase is. It sounds ridiculous. You'll have to explain that one to me. I'd buy it for my kids. That's what it sounds like. How can we identify gaps? You can actually get a gap scanner. So you can actually, there's a multitude of different websites that you can utilize, but gaps are really fun. And what a gap looks like, if you don't have extra market data on TradingView, you can't see all of the data. So just so you know that. But usually these gaps, and they can show up on the hourly, They can show up on really any time frame, but the gap ups usually will mostly identify themselves on the daily time frames. I'm trying to look for a gap here. INTC is probably one of the most gappy stocks that you'll find. So look at the 4 hour. So a gap up right here. A gap up is simply when a stock closes at a price and opens at a lower price and closes or opens at a higher price. So here on this day on January of this year, 53.30 was the close, and then we gapped up and hit. Now this is a massive daily gap, which is a little bit different. Those don't always get filled, but eventually, look at that. Like literally it bounces off the gap. So knowing that you get a massive rejection here, so if you imagine playing this earnings and the next day just free falls, you know that you have a massive gap here if you've identified that on the daily and you've set an alert at 56. So now once you fall into that gap, the likelihood, and the thing that traps people too is that it's never a straight line, right? So that's where you go long with that target and you scalp it every day underneath, or day trade it on every day, because as you can see here, INTC pushed down. We have 56.40, pushes all the way to $54, and then buyers step back up and they pull it all the way to 55.50. So it would have been a really rough day to trade and take a loss on Intel, but knowing that you still haven't filled that gap, and that gap gets filled at that 53.34. So you can use gaps to, and in fact, right now as we speak, INTC has a gap, and you can't identify. Right now, it doesn't show after earnings, but right now, INTC has a potential for a double bottom at 53.30, but on the daily has a very large gap here starting at 59 at $60. So it's $60 all the way to 62. So a $2.21 gap that could potentially get filled on Intel. So I use a gap scanner a lot of times. If the Qs have moved up substantially, then I'll go look at my favorite Q stocks and see if one of them has gapped up and what time frame. Anytime something has a major gap up, like Snapchat is likely, ooh, that's not a ticker. Snapchat will more than likely gap up. It's probably going to gap up. I think it hit 74 in after hours here. Oh shit, yeah, 74.12, ending super bullishly. So this one being at that like really I mean, it's hit 74 really strong. More than likely it's gonna show a gap up on the daily. Now doesn't mean now, but in the future more than likely Snapchat's going to have a gap that needs to get filled, and will get filled, I'm sure, sometime in September and in October, which is when I think the market might fall. Sometimes I get a very long contract, like for super cheap. Sometimes I see some 1 second stupid movement, like SPY today has been 2 weeks at 0.06, and moment it went up to 0.21 and back up. That's not a bug, that's people buying your contract. Someone's taking a bet on that movement. That movement spurred buyers to anticipatorily buy your contracts in large sections, and then therefore you have your contract value shoots up. I've had contracts that were negative on a Monday, or were I bought on a Monday and were damn near worthless towards a Friday, and were down 99% just to shoot up and be down 50% in one AI. So fucking A, my battery. Okay. I already went over Sophie. Those of you on TikTok, if you guys want to go back, rewind. I already went over Sophie. Netflix. Fubo. I think did we already go over Fubo? No, we were going over AMC, correct? Yeah. So, okay, so AMC was the next one on my list. So AMC, man, tough break today, pulling back a little bit further. I kind of suspected this a little bit. So when it had that original run up to my main target of 45, it rejected that day. And then the next day, it seemed like a fight to push it down even lower. Right now, I think it could be spurred by a little bit of profit taking. You have to remember there's a lot of bag holders who could have tried to get in on AMC anywhere in this range and are breaking even or back in profit. Nvidia and Uber, got it. Nvidia and Uber. Probably isn't helping. I'm listening to lo-fi right now. I'm about to pass out. That's a good question. You know, what do I think tomorrow about the market? Not to make it more complicated than it is, but like, I just watched the levels that I have right now. There's some really pivotal supports that have to be held. If they're broken, I'll play it to the downside. And if they're broken, then I imagine we'll have a red day. And that would probably be profit taking, or at least spurred by profit taking after a 3-day run. Now, that could happen in the morning, and then we could see continuation into the day. So my plan is always, and this is how I consistently make money, is to evaluate things as they come, and rather, and as in life, you should never bring your own misconceptions into the market. So, yeah. Always leave your bias at home. You can have an idea of what could happen if certain trigger points are met, but otherwise you want to, want to evaluate the climate. If anybody watched my video, I posted in live, or I think it was on my channel. Traders back in the day, like they made all of their decisions based off of news and how it could affect the trend. Before we had like all of this complicated computers and algorithms and everything, like that was the number one thing, and that will always remain to be the number one thing, is what is impacting the market and what is going to continue to do so. And that being said, we have the Delta variant. So between now and when we wake up in the morning, if something not so good happens, if the Olympics get shut down or something like that, right? That could affect the market. That could drive it down. I can't predict that. The chart sometimes will show you that somebody knows something, but other than that, that's the risk of the market. But that's why I love day trading, because this morning in 6 minutes I made $1,000. And actually it was less than 6 minutes. I made I re-entered the trade 2 or 3 times towards the end of the day, collecting. It was literally like a Heck Diesel, I think, and Georgie, or no, Atlas, both signaled Microsoft for a nice run. So anyway, AMC, so downtrend right here. I think that it could go maybe hit 35 tomorrow. Watch for a bounce off 35. If AMC doesn't break 35, guys, then we're in deep shit. And I think that we're going to see $31 again. But it has broken the downtrend, did see a nice pop here. So it could establish a new support here, hopefully, of course, and then maybe make an ascending triangle type deal here and then pop out. But we have earnings as well coming up soon. But this pump here was stifled rather quick, so it's going to have to hold that $35 level tomorrow. So watch 35 and watch for a recovery above that. So, all right. I have to Vanguard ETF. I used to check the total market. So what do I think about INTC for tomorrow? I'm doing this because I can't read your comments. If you want me to, so I already went over Sophie on YouTube live so you can actually see it there. Yeah. All right, so we got AMC covered. Let's go over Fubo. So Fubo, we actually tried to take this trade today. Unfortunately, this one did not play out at all, and it happens like that. And it was actually the same exact setup that Microsoft presented, and that's one of the things about playing support bounces. So Fubo, luckily, we're able to cut for a minimal loss. I think pretty much everybody else cut as well. It moved up really well. It hit 78 or 28, 26 in pre-market or post-market, but that's not what matters. Unfortunately, we didn't see the run that we wanted to the upside, and this one right now on the 15-minute does appear to be making somewhat of a bear flag. So I would watch. Excuse me. Looks like 26.25 for a potential break below 26. Below 26, and I would say you're definitely going to 25.50. And then you, of course, have that lower support of 25.15, and then a really low support all the way down at 24.70. So Fubo on the daily, blown pattern here. So I'm not sure if it's just going to extend itself, which it could very well do. So now Fubo may end up trending all the way back down into the $23 level, or at least at a minimum retesting 25. The thing about Fubo is that 25 is that major EMA or daily resistance support that we have to hold to stay bullish. So even though it may be building a possible reversal pattern, it still really needs to hold that level. So anywhere below... so not only that, if you look at it's a bearish engulfment. So it's even on the daily candle here, you can see that we've got a reversal sign here as well. So tomorrow, I would imagine anywhere below 26, and we'll likely see Fubo back down to 25.25, in my opinion. So 25 even. All right, so we got Fubo, we got Netflix. All right, so Netflix due earnings, I guess gap filled 520.50. That gap was filled to the downside. 200-day EMA bounce, not an awesome bounce at all. It didn't even go and meet its moving averages, but let's see here. Starting from my high. So I'd say with the way that Netflix is holding up, in a bullish case, you need to go and retest 517.50 with the immediate target of 522 or 524 even. Otherwise, below 506.68, this thing will likely see further downside. Now it does look like it's in store for some major chop, so I would imagine it stays in the 506 and 514 range for quite some time. So you know, 99% of day traders lose that's amazing though. But I think that's a myth. I think that people say that to get, it's almost like selling by failure. It's always those big sites that want you to buy the newsletters or the things that don't bring you a whole lot of value or teach you much, but just give you like what they think looks good. But I think that they try and almost put out this like feeling of dependency, like you can't do this. Like, nobody makes it here. Like, yeah, well, what is the data coming from? 90% of what? Your first trades? Abso-fucking-lutely. I failed my first trade. Actually, no, I didn't. It's a lie. I made $900 on Apple, and then I blew every last bit of it in a matter of seconds the next day because I had no idea. Well, yeah, AMC is trash, but when retail traders are holding up the float, it is what it is. So yeah, Netflix honestly is not looking too hot, but it definitely is in need of a bounce. So bear flagging right now, anywhere below 510 or even 512. Netflix is going to see a trip to the downside. It does have that major support at 500 and 595, but right now it's definitely in need of a dire need of a bounce. Volume was extremely high on that pullback. I think Netflix bounces. I mean, it's a bullish company overall. If you go look at the daily, it bounced off of its 200-day EMA. So I would suspect either tomorrow we go and we see a recovery to around 518.75 or even possibly 525, and that's with major with positive movement from the Qs. Otherwise, y'all, if we do end up falling, 500 is inevitable for Netflix. So all right, so we have SQ, that was next. SQ here, wow, what a move. I don't even think that's yeah, that's a nice channel there. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, so it looks like I'm at the point now I'm calling charts beautiful. This is sad. So it looks like on Square, support is about to support bounce is about to go meet resistance. So if we go right here, we got a nice support bounce, a correction as well. I think on Square 268 or even just you could say 270 tomorrow. $10 move to the upside with positive movement. Otherwise, a modest tap of the 270 level and then a potential rejection. We do have earnings that are coming up, and if we do push this level that we're at currently, which is right around the 260 level for Square, if we can push up to 270, that is also going to put it well above or around its all-time highs. And being in this channel, we want to exchange this resistance for support. So we want to climb up top and settle on top of it, whether that be a flag or whatever ends up forming there. We want to move above that. So I would be watching Square tomorrow, and if we can go down here to the hourly, it does look like that's I mean, it's going to need to pop immediately or move in pre-market. So don't be surprised if you see pre-market movement that way. But otherwise, watch for a little pullback to 258.50 as a first bounce zone, and then 256.60, 50% range for a bounce to the upside on Square. Yeah, so nice movement though, for sure. Today, I think some people caught Square, and yesterday. AFL. Aflac. Okay, daily chart. This thing kind of looks like hot dog water right now. Yeah, so 200-day EMA, mad respect for that moving average. It does seem, with earnings around the corner, that it has stayed in range since June. The beginning of June, when it fell into this range of 54.25 and 51.50, it stayed in this range pretty much all July and June and July, and we today saw a pretty harsh rejection and gap fill of Aflac. So tomorrow it's imperative that we bounce. Otherwise, this thing will likely go and see a break of 52.80, and if that 52.80 level is broken, then I would put my bottom dollar on the $52 level being revisited on Aflac before earnings, of course. But earnings is on tomorrow. Okay, then I take it all back. It'll do whatever it wants. I have no idea. But if it shoots up on a gap up, I would imagine that gap up would take you somewhere into the $55 range on a good earnings, and on bad earnings, this one goes straight to 50. All right, MDRNR or Yeah, never mind. Moderna. I have trouble with this one all the time. MRDA. There it is. Dyslexia kills me, man. So we talked about the HMA. We talked about Moderna last night. This setup here, nice little flag, and this little asshole has basically stayed right at that level I said it needed to break. 326. It really needed to break 326, and it just could not break that level. It's holding the 20-day EMA, right? Right around 320.50. And it's definitely in need of a bounce to the upside. Tomorrow would likely be that day. But it looks like strength is dissipating from Moderna. So don't be surprised if it uses this resistance as support if it pulls back anywhere below 319.75. All right, guys, I know you guys are probably like, hurry the hell up. I'm trying to get through these. So NVIDIA, guys, I got this one pinned, I think. Hopefully it doesn't slap me in the face. But I do have this one in a wedge at the moment. It does look like a rising wedge, or I think it's like a descending wedge, not a falling wedge, but a descending wedge. So you have a descending wedge here, and I don't like that. It looks like it's gotten deadpanned at 196.50, which is right at that original gap down level for NVIDIA when it first gapped down after its initial run. So after that first gap down, this is the level that we hit, and right now it kind of looks like it's going to reverse. I know that's probably not what you guys want to hear, but 193.50. If it can bounce or even just taper, then you have a chance to run and hit, I would say, 199.75. 199.75 is the target if it gets a strong bounce, and that coincides with the rest of my analysis. So. Stop making me, sorry. Will Sundial ever come back to life? Earnings on the Discord for the upcoming week. Yeah, Anthony, I can do that. Sorry. I just was looking at my list. I apologize, I missed your messages. Okay. So, what do I think of NURO? Sorry if you're gone. I know a lot of you guys are probably dipped. All right. NURO kind of looks, I mean, it's really, really wicky. It's not looking great, to be TBA. I mean, the news is amazing, and I'm not sure. Earnings was today? It had earnings today. That's right. So NURO actually had earnings today. Let me see if I can find that. Hold on one second. Let me look up NURO. So, yeah, so NURO right now, the company did announce better than expected financial results, reported a second quarter earnings loss of 13 cents per share, which was up from the loss of 28 cents per share in the second quarter of 2020. The company reported a quarterly revenue of $2.2 million, which was up 63% from the $1.4 million year over year. They also noted that its second quarter results were adversely affected by the pandemic. Of course, we continue to make progress to both the DPN check and coil business lines. We believe that we are laying the groundwork for a steady top-of-the-line growth going forward. Yeah, no problem, Austin. Sorry, I'll get Uber was next as well. I just had to hit NURO really quick. Well, first of all, so on NURO, this is your support line. So if you go to the hourly, draw that same support. I'm not too sure on this resistance here, but it does look like anywhere above today's high or not today's high, but above $28 that this thing could, with volume, see a run. It did just have earnings, and a lot of times after earnings it will fall, and this does have a bear flag look, and as you can see, these wicks are showing that shorts are present, sellers are present. So with that being said, I would pay close attention to a potential reversal back down to the $18 level for NURO. Otherwise, with volume and if positive sentiment continues with NURO, then I would say it just continues to pop here or hold and consolidate in the 20s until it can kind of establish that profile. So, okay, so Uber. Oh, that's not a ticker. Yeah, it's 10:34, guys. I understand you guys are going to bed. All right, downtrend here. Okay, so we talked about Uber potentially moving down to the 43.28 level. Didn't make it. It does look like it's going to go try and attempt to test the 48.45 level, but today rejected that very pivotal 20-day EMA. I'm bearish on Uber because I think they suck, kind of in a way. Like, they just don't make money the way they should for being as big as they are. But if I would just say if it can get above 48, more than likely, and it would be highly likely you hit 48.75. Got me good. Right now it's holding relatively strong. I think one thing you could do is also, draw a bottom support for this ticker as well. Yeah, so I would even go so far as to say that this thing may pull back tomorrow. Uber, yeah, it's at the 200-day EMA here. I think that Uber pulls back to 47, and a break of 47 on Uber tomorrow sends it to 46.50. 46 maybe. Alright, well, I feel like I have steeped my brain in jelly. So I'm going to hop off here, off the YouTube, and let's see, did I miss anybody? You are in on NURO, 21 shares, 4.6. I scalped in our Discord this morning. Let's see, what time did I alert? Paper hands, I don't know what you just said, but I'm going to Google translate it and find out here in just a second. Something about Ryan. I don't know. We'll work on it. We'll work on the French. Okay. But yeah, this morning, NURO, I think I alerted this one in... Where did I... Yeah, so I think I alerted this one 8:50. I got it at NURO and pre-market at 8:50. This one just ended up running all day, so yeah, we'll watch for that. I've got an alert set at that hold, so if you're on YouTube Live tomorrow. Nice. All right, guys. Any other requests? If not, I'm gonna go to bed. Or not even go to bed. I'm gonna talk to a few people before I go to bed, and then get ready for tomorrow. So H row. Yeah, I can look here in just a second. All right, 8:45 tomorrow morning. I'll see you guys there. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you guys for leaving likes. Remember, follow me on. I got you. MOB. That'll be the last. Or yeah, I got you. That'll be the last one. MDB. I'll do that one really quick. Remember Potter Stocks on Twitter. Follow me there. Might be doing like a t-shirt giveaway or something on there, but for one of the new followers. But MDB. Let's see here. MDB. What is this goober? MongoDB. So it looks like a clean break and downtrend here. Lower time frame downtrend anyway. So we've got an hourly break and downtrend starting here, pulling this down. Beautiful. EMA crossover looking like it's happening here as well. It's making a little bit of a flag at 356.36. Inside of a little consolidation or demand zone, anywhere past 360.50, and I believe that this one should break and resume uptrend. But in the meantime, on this stock, draw a support off your lows and run it to your highs. So you may end up consolidating in this range, right? So you may end up pulling back to 351 and seeing a little bit of consolidation and then pop right out of that. Otherwise, use that very same support as a mark or a stop loss or short entry, and anywhere below 349.50, I would imagine that MDB goes back down. But it looks good bullishly anyways. The one thing that I do not like, Swappy, is I don't like the RSI and the MACD both showing a lot of weakness. So be very careful about entering a position, and 348.50 would be like the last bounce zone if it did end up pulling back. And if it did end up pulling back, that's not such a bad thing either. Just because this support gets broken doesn't mean that it's going to just parabolically dump, but could hold this 200 and chop. You can see the previous chop that we've had in this zone, so we could see that cyclical pattern happen again. But yeah, so anywhere above 360.50, I think this one's on its way again, and just hold that 200 at 248.50. So looks like a potential inverse head and shoulders, kind of, sort of. Thanks, Swappy. I really appreciate that, man. I appreciate all you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Colton, the S&P. Night, Brian. Have a good night, man. Thanks, dude. I appreciate you. That's really nice. Yeah, I think I did SPY if you want to rewind it, but I'll give you a brief synopsis here. So holding support here, major break and downtrend. The 50-day EMA is that culprit for our major bounces on the daily, cyclically here over the past year and a half. Right now, 348.50 to the upside if we see continuation in tomorrow. Otherwise, what could end up happening here is we pull back, break that support, and bounce at 358.25, and then exchange this support as our new resistance, which I've seen a lot of stocks do as they approach those highs. So watch in this zone in particular for SPY to potentially pull back. So it needs to have a strong push above 437.10 tomorrow. It is Friday, so with Friday we can have low volume, but buy mini Doge. You're welcome. You heard it first. I didn't say that. This guy on the other place said that. All right, I'm calling TikTok the other place, so it's definitely time to go to bed now. Anthony Sundial. This one unfortunately was ruined by Wall Street Bets, because now it's just never traded the same ever since that. Just honestly, this one just needs a catalyst other than squeezes. You may see random pops here and there, and it may end up going back down to 65 cents. Oh, stop. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. It may be going back down to 65 cents, where it could see a technical bounce there. But the real bounce is going to come from something sustainable and feasible as a real thing that happens. So until that happens, I'm not too sure that Sundial has much of a chance other than meme stocks sending it. Cannabis legalization in America. Banks being able to fully lend and deal with cannabis. You could light up a doober with Obama. That kind of legal. And then I'll play Sundial. Compound and Cardano. Oh, I'm about to log off YouTube. I'll go over those. All right, YouTube, Discord, guys. Much love. Thank you guys again, as always. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. I'm dead. Night. All right. Bet. Good luck, Colton. See you tomorrow.